Hi, my name is Elizabeth, and I am the owner, designer, and creator of the Etsy shop Old School and Eclectic, and welcome to my YouTube channel, Old School and Eclectic Crafts. Today, I'm going to be working on sewing in some ends on this corner-to-corner blanket. Anyone who's done this style blanket knows that there's hundreds, if not thousands, of ends to sew in. So I'm going to be working on this, and we're going to talk a little bit about depression, I guess. Sorry, I probably should use my inhaler. I can't breathe very well at the moment. I'll be honest, I don't particularly like talking about depression, but I'm in the middle of being depressed, so I thought I'd talk about it. Particularly how it affects me as a creator, a small business owner, and how I keep up in spite of it. So I do want to start showing you guys what I have been working on this past week. Nobody. Winston, my Yorkie Havanese dog, just brought me his favorite toy. I intentionally took the time to sit and play with him for 10 minutes, really intensely, in the hopes that he would be a little more calm during this live stream. Nobody. I'm working right now. But I guess he still wants to play. Okay. So you guys might have seen some of these. Some of you may not. Some of them you may not have. But so these are designs for some Christmas ornaments I'm wanting to do. I am not the original designers of these particular patterns that I'm stitching. They're originally from a plaid Busilla pattern, but I'm going to be doing some editing on them. Right now I'm doing like the first run through, the first draft, where I'm actually stitching the original pattern. Sorry, my hair's all over the place. Where I'm stitching the original patterns to see what they're like. And then I'm going to be editing them and changing them up to be easier to stitch, nicer to stitch, adjusting colors. I'm finding out that plaid Busilla patterns are obnoxious and they're not very accurate. And so I'm going to be doing some editing on them to be able to make them nicer and to look better. So to start out with, let's see here. So we have Rudolph. Most of these are on 14 count Aida. A lot of them I'm going to be redoing on 18 count, so that way they're smaller and they're scaled down. So that one's Rudolph. Oh, this is like the only time you guys are going to see these for now. Because they're probably not going to actually become a listing in my Etsy shop until like July of next year. But there's a little penguin. This one is actually an edited version already. I had to do some editing on it because the original pattern has like a banner under here that says like Happy Holidays or something. But that wouldn't fit on this, so I had to remove it and do some editing. And I don't like all my edits, so I'm going to do some more. So that's the little penguin. We got a little cardinal. Those of you who are on my Instagram would have seen this one. I was posting regular updates on it on Thursday or Friday when I was making this one, where after I finished each color, I posted a reel about it, asking if you guys could guess what it was. So those of you who are on Instagram would have seen this one already, but this one's really, really cute. I love this one. It was really hard because it has 3 different reds in it, but they're so similar. Like, it makes a difference, and when you look at it, you're like, oh, I can see the color change. But when you're stitching, it's really difficult. So he turned out really cute, but he's kind of hard to stitch because the reds are so similar. This one I love. This one's really cute. This one's a little snowman. This is another one that I've already edited. Originally, it had a banner over here that said Baby's First Christmas. And so I took that out, and it's just the snowman. I had to do some stuff over here where the banner was. But yeah, that one's really cute. I've got a mitten. I like this one. This one's very, very simple. I think there's 2 reds in this one. 2 reds. Honestly, the longest part was the blue, the stripes on the background. They're really easy, but they took a really long time. I liked doing this one. This one was a good one. This one was the first one I did. It's a dove. And this one I also edited. This one had a banner that said Peace on Earth. And so I decided to just do the dove. This one, if you're on Instagram, you've also seen this one. This one's the panda bear. He's so cute. This guy's adorable. So I also posted about him on Instagram. But I messed up the French knots. One of the French knots is mwah, perfect, and the other one is all sorts of janky. Then we've got a stocking. It's supposed to be a red stocking, but for some reason, they wanted you to use pink, and I don't like the pink. So that's an example of a color edit that I'm going to be doing, where the symbol that represents this pink, I'm actually going to change to be a different red. Because I'm seeing throughout multiple patterns where it's this pink color. It just doesn't look right. I mean, I know you need to have highlights in images. You'll have highlights and lowlights to be able to create depth in the images. But pink just doesn't feel right. I don't like it. I don't like it. And then this is the one that I made. Each of these took me about a day. It took me one day of just sitting down and working to be able to make them and complete them. This one took me 3 days. This is the only one I've made so far that's on 18 count Aida. You see how the fabric is kind of warped? It's because there's so many stitches in this little pattern that it's distorted the fabric. 38% of the cross stitches in this pattern are half stitches. 38%. It's a very large percentage. Those of you who cross stitch are familiar with half stitches. So a cross stitch just does an X over each of the little squares, and a half stitch does a cross stitch over a quarter. It's a quarter stitch, half stitch. I don't know how you would refer to it, but I call it a half stitch, and it's over 1/4 of the stitch instead of the whole stitch. And so they're tiny. They're tiny, tiny, tiny little stitches. And this is on 18 count. And so it's even smaller. And this is adorable. It is such a cute gingerbread house. But I never want to stitch it again. I never want to stitch this again. It was so hard. My hands physically ended up in pain because I was just cramping so much trying to fight it. But this took me 3 days. And this is another example of a pattern that I'm planning on editing. And this one I'm going to edit fairly heavily because I don't want to do it again. It's adorable, and I really like the idea, but I'm not doing that many half stitches again. So I've already started taking notes of where I'll change it to try and be less annoying. So I'm going to do another version of this when I get up the courage to try again. But I've taken some notes. I'm also going to change some colors. You probably can't tell, but there's a chimney right here with snow on it. You can't see it. Every other pattern, like this snowman, has blue for an outline of the snow. And so I'm going to change the outline on that chimney right there. So that way you can actually see it. I don't know why they decided to do white on white. The white on white was very difficult. But I've been wanting to stitch these patterns and make them into listings for my Etsy shop from before I even had my Etsy shop. This was one of my first ideas that I wanted to do was these. I'm also not the only one who's stitching these first drafts. I have employed the help of my little sister, one of my little sisters. Hi, buddy. To help me stitch these patterns. She has a full-time job, but she spends a lot of time just kind of sitting there, twiddling her thumbs. So she has a very specific job, and she's not always exactly needed, but she has to be there. So she has a lot of time to just sit. And so she has decided to spend that time helping me out by stitching some of my rough drafts. So that has been very, very helpful. Hi, Winston. Do you want to come here? It looked like he nodded his head when I asked him that. No, we're not going outside. You were just outside. No. I made sure he was fully taken care of before I started this live stream, and now he's acting like I have ignored him my entire life. Come here. No. I don't know if you'd rather see my face while I talk or if you'd rather see what I'm doing. If you'd rather see what I'm doing, please let me get more subscribers, because then I can actually do these live streams from my phone, and then you can actually get like a top-down look at what I'm doing, and it'll just be way better for everyone. Here in the St. Louis area, it was absolutely beautiful. And as a result, or because it was beautiful, I decided to open all the windows in our house. Kind of air things out. Like, it was the perfect temperature, and there was a nice breeze. It was gorgeous. But a side effect of that is that a whole lot of allergens got into the house. I'm allergic to a lot of things. And so that's why when I first sat down, I was out of breath because I was having a slight asthma attack. So I'd been moving around a lot and breathing really hard, and I couldn't quite breathe. Because I'm allergic to fall. So as a result, I'm also really sniffly. So if I'm being sniffly and having to blow my nose, I'm sorry. So the entire reason, or the original topic I was going to talk about today, is depression. I have had depression for as long as I can remember. I wasn't diagnosed with depression until I was an adult. I know, I remember my doctor and I talking about me having depression, but I don't remember actually having it like an official diagnosis from a psychologist until later. But I didn't get any sort of medication for my depression until after I was married. But I've had depression for as long as I can remember. Um, I've also had anxiety for my entire life, but that's a different issue at this point. I'm not really sure where I want to go with this. I just know that I want to discuss it, even though I don't particularly like discussing it. When I'm depressed, everything just kind of stops. Everything goes numb. Which is it feels like a strange way to describe it. So I'm going to mess with my computer here for a sec. Hey, looky, now I can see my screen. It feels like a weird way to describe it, going numb, because I can still feel emotions when I'm depressed. I can still feel joy. I can still feel sadness. I can still get angry, but there's a, I don't know, that's just the best way I can describe it, is that there's kind of a numbness to everything. My brain slows down. As you might have noticed, there's a lot more long pauses in this. I'm not intentionally doing that. That is a side effect of me being depressed right now. Where my brain just goes slower, and there's literally nothing I can do about it. It's just the way that my brain reacts to me being to the depression. Is everything just kind of slows down and everything becomes more difficult to comprehend and work through. I always know that I'm about to enter a depressive episode when I go to sit down to work on something. I love doing this kind of stuff. I know I love working on this kind of thing. But when I start getting to the point where I suddenly don't want to do anything related to my crafts, things that I love, and I suddenly just don't have any interest in any of it. I don't really have any interest in anything. That's almost always the first sign that I'm entering a depressive episode. I remember it was either Saturday or Sunday. I turned to my husband and I was like, I'm entering a depression because I don't. And I pointed out to him that I just didn't want to do any of my usual stuff that I really love. And so I was able to kind of warn him that I was starting to sink. Now some people might wonder, well, why didn't you do something to halt your sinking into your depression? Why? Because I don't know how. I don't know how. My depression is very much a chemical issue. Rather than a psychological one. So how do you stop the chemicals in your body from glitching? I'm actually not on any antidepressants, like traditional antidepressants. But I am taking a special vitamin. It's actually really expensive, but it's a B vitamin called L-methylfolate. That is the natural form of folic acid. Folic acid is necessary for your body to be able to regenerate cells and for neurological development, which is why pregnant women are told to take folic acid supplements, because it helps the developing fetus to have normal brain development. If they don't have enough folic acid while their baby's brain is being developed in their spinal cord, there are some major complications that can occur as a result. And in grown adults, if you don't have enough folic acid, your brain doesn't function right, and you're not able to replace the cells of your nervous system. And sorry, just a sec. So your brain's just not able to work right. So through some genetic testing that I did through a psychiatrist, we found out that I have a genetic mutation, two actually genetic mutations that make it so I can't break down folic acid, which folic acid is actually a synthetic chemical that was developed by scientists. It's not, folic acid itself is not a naturally occurring chemical. Methylfolate is. And so you just gotta make sure that you have enough folic acid, or methylfolate. Folic acid is the one that people use because it's what they can produce more easily. And so that's what they like. Enriched wheat flour has folic acid in it. That's why it's enriched. Kind of like how salt tends to be iodized, how they put iodine in the salt. They put folic acid in the wheat flour, so that way people get the dosage of the chemical that we need to survive. But so my body doesn't break down folic acid. It can't. It physically can't. So I have to have methylfolate, which is a kind of a pre-broken down. It's the natural form that I can process. My body can deal with. So that's what I take for my depression. And it's really helped. Before I started taking the methylfolate, I was having severe depressive episodes on a very regular basis. Whereas now, they're a lot less frequent. It's like once every couple of months rather than like every week. Now, as a small business owner, Having depression throws a wrench in everything. Because I'm the only one who runs my shop. I'm the only one who is here to do my work. And if I don't do it, then no one's going to do it. And so it can be really difficult if I'm in a depressive episode and I have an order or orders that need to get done fairly quickly. Because, as you've seen, everything in my body and my mind just kind of slows down. And it's a lot harder to get things done in a timely manner when I'm depressed. Like right now, the only reason I am working on this and I am not asleep is because I feel I have an obligation to complete my live stream, and you're watching me, and so I am continuing to work. Like all I want to do right now is go sleep, which I am going to do after I'm done here. One thing I have learned over the years of dealing with depression and I've learned over the years, but then I've also been able to put into words thanks to the help of YouTube and Instagram people who have better command of words than I do, is that it is better to do something poorly than to not do it at all. Something like that. For example, I don't really want to be awake right now, and I don't really want to be here just because I'm tired. I just want to go sleep. I really enjoy live streaming and being able to talk to people. I'm just tired, which is part of being depressed. But I'm here, and you may have noticed if you looked very closely at the description and the posts for my live stream, they're kind of shorthanded. They're put in shorthand. I literally just copy pasted stuff. I didn't put a whole lot of thought into it. I just copy pasted because I don't have the energy for it. But I still wanted to do it, and so I did it in the easiest way I knew how. The photo for the thumbnail is from a day trip my husband and I took this past weekend. I have a really hard time coming up with thumbnails because I feel like the stuff I work on that I would want to put thumbnails of would be basically the same photos over and over and over again, and I just don't know how to make them unique. So I just pick photos that either actually have to do with what I'll be talking about or what I'll be working on or just something from my life. Sorry, that was a squirrel. I don't know where I was going with that. I was talking about being lazy about setting up my live stream. But another example of it's better to do something poorly than to not do it at all is eating. I've always been someone, thanks to a habit of my dad's, of where I eat my emotions. And I say thanks to my dad because he does the same thing. And so the default in our house was if you had a bad day, you eat a bunch of ice cream. My family doesn't drink alcohol. We don't smoke. So it's not like we get home from a hard day of work and we sit down and we have a bottle of beer and forget or a glass of wine and forget everything. It's we get a huge bowl of ice cream and we sit down and we just eat the ice cream. So that's a habit that I learned from my dad, is eating ice cream and sweets to forget yourself. And I'll do that when I've had a bad day, but when I'm depressed, I actually become adverse to foods where I don't want to eat and food just doesn't sound good. And that's ultimately not very good, because you need food to function, and you need food to be able to get the nutrients you need. And so yesterday, while I was being really depressed, I knew I needed to eat, but I didn't want to eat. So I put some rice in our rice cooker, and I put some chicken in a pot to just boil as bland chicken. Call me weird or gross or dumb because I'm not seasoning my food right or whatever. I don't care. But I was just gonna have boiled chicken and some rice. But I never ended up eating it. I cooked it and then I just didn't eat it. What I did eat was popcorn. Popcorn sounded good, so I put in the energy to pop up some popcorn, and I ate popcorn. So I did have the rice and the chicken with dinner. My husband helped me get it prepped and making some gravy, and so we did eat it for dinner. But popcorn's not necessarily the greatest meal in the world, but I figured it was better for me to eat something than it was for me to not eat anything. Hi, Winston. And so I ate popcorn for lunch yesterday because something is better than nothing. I also treated myself with a Capri Sun that I ended up with. So we don't buy Capri Sun, not for any particular reason, we just don't. But I ended up with one over the weekend, and so I treated myself with some Capri Sun because it was yummy. And I ate popcorn. Do you want to come here? Let's see if you'll come up. Come here. Come. No. Here. Come here. Everybody say hi to Winston. I actually wrote down some of the things about what I do to deal with depression. One, I sleep. Not like, okay, sometimes I still do, but you need to get sleep for your brain to be able to function properly. And so it's okay to take a nap. It's okay to get some extra sleep. The trick is to not seclude yourself to the bed or the couch or wherever it is that you're just zoning off to. Staying hydrated, drinking water. Now again, doing something poorly is better than not doing it at all. So drinking soda or drinking coffee or drinking whatever your drink it is that you prefer is better than not drinking anything at all, because you're still getting something in your system. Water is best. Potentially something like Propel, which has electrolytes, can also help and be good. But getting some sort of drink in your system. Doing something that is easy for you in the middle of your depression. Now, okay, I'm saying all this. This is all from personal experience. I'm not a professional. I'm not giving medical advice. This is all just things that I do or have done that help me feel just a little bit better in the middle of being depressed. I like to try and find something that gives me some bit of dopamine. For me yesterday, it was a small treat with the Capri Sun, where it made me happy for just a little while. Also, opening up all the windows yesterday felt really, really good. I like get the fresh air and the wind. It would have been better if we didn't live on a main street, so it was really loud all day. But it was still nice getting the fresh air. Sorry, I'm keeping it down so you guys can see Winston, because I know people on the internet tend to like animals. So find yourself something that will give you just a little bit of dopamine. Something will make you feel better. Sitting in the sunlight, being a cat and finding a sunbeam to curl up in. Eating your favorite treat and not counting any of the calories. For me, as I pointed out a couple of times, my brain and my body just kind of slow down when I'm depressed. And so I try to still do things. I just do them slower. There's no real rush. As a small business owner, I work from home. I don't have a boss that I need to go report to. I don't have any intense responsibilities of any sort that I need to go and do. And so it's just me here at home all day, every day. And so I just do things slower. I, of course, end up not getting as much done as I would have otherwise, but at least I'm still doing something. And I'm trying to do something, because otherwise I'll continue to sink lower into depression and just spiral. And so by trying to do something, anything, will help distract me and hopefully get my body properly regulated. Those are kind of my big things. Getting sunlight is good. Sunlight helps your body to create vitamin D, which is an essential nutrient for you. And it also tends to activate dopamine, I think. It's supposed to make you feel better being in the sun. So getting sunlight's good. Drinking water, drinking anything. Get some food. Anything to get nutrients into your body. Because your body can't function if it doesn't have any nutrients to be able to function. You need to help your body help you. A car is not going to run right if it doesn't have the oil and the coolant and the gasoline to be able to help it to run. And you need to do the same thing. You need to get liquid in your body. Or fluids into your body. You need to get nutrients into your body. You need to get the protein. You need to get the vitamins, minerals. Yeah. You need to help your body help you. Petting animals is supposed to help. I find it can when he's not being a pain in the butt. He's a big stressor for me, Winston here. And so petting him doesn't always really help because he's so difficult. But in the description box, you'll find 5 links. One of them is a link to my Etsy page. One is a link to my Facebook page. One is a link to my Instagram. One is a link to my Amazon wish list for my Etsy shop. And one is a link to an article where I was interviewed by a magazine called Voyage STL, which they like to interview people who are local to St. Louis, entrepreneurs and small business owners, and do little highlight articles about them. And so there's a link there about that is my interview that I did a couple weeks ago. So I'd love if you were to go check some of those links out. You may be wondering why I have an Amazon wish list. There are many ways that you can support your favorite small business owner or creator or YouTuber. And you can do that by liking stuff, their posts, their videos. You can share their posts and videos. But then you can also buy stuff from them. You can buy stuff for them. You can comment on any of their posts or videos. All of those things either help them run their business or help their business get to be seen by more people. And so that's why I have an Amazon wish list, because a lot of my stuff is really niche. It's unique and it's eclectic. And so even if it's too expensive or if it's not something you ever want, but you still want to support me and my work, you can do it by ordering something off my wish list. I'm thinking about also putting my Venmo tip jar on there. My business has a QR code. I don't remember how or when I got it, but I have a QR code. So I really appreciate those of you who've been here and watched all the way here to the end. If you watched all the way to the end, I would love if you would give me a heart or a hug emoji. Let me know that you actually listened to my stuff. I know it hasn't been the most exciting or wonderful live stream. It's a side effect of being depressed. But I hope you guys are doing better than I am. I want you guys to know that the day trip I went on this past weekend with my husband was really, really nice. It was really pretty, as you might be able to see from the photo I did on the thumbnail. It was a really nice day trip. It was very pretty, and the weather was perfect. But I'm going to go take a nap. And then I have leftovers in the fridge, which are going to make it really easy to make sure that I eat something today. I love you guys and your support. And I hope you guys have a good week, and I plan on seeing you again next week. If you guys would like some really uplifting content, my church is actually doing a big conference this weekend where there's going to be 10 hours worth of uplifting messages and talks about Jesus Christ and about hope and love and service, and I'm actually really excited about it. But I'll try and see if I can get a link to put into the description for that. Our church does it every 6 months, and yeah. And if the fact that I brought my church up bothers you guys, this is my business page. I can do whatever I want. Thank you guys for being here. I hope you guys have a good week and a great weekend. If you guys decide to watch that conference, I would love to talk to you guys about it. I'm really excited for it. I hope you guys have a good week. It's like the 4th time I've said that. I'm sorry. I'll see you next week. Bye. Maybe. It's new mouse.